Remember all the fun and joy of your favorite game or childhood toy. If only you could feel that way again. Well, you don't have to go back in time, 'cause Nick and friends can help you find long lost treasures you once loved. Let's go hunting nostalgia.
Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. Spins some web in his hand, does whatever a spider can. Welcome to Hunting Nostalgia. I'm Nick Bartley. Today we have a spectacular show. Maybe it's an amazing show. I don't know, but it is about Spider-Man. It is going to be absolutely awesome. It's actually all about comic books. And you want to know another thing that's all about comic books? The Pittsburgh Comic Book Show. You got to get there. October 23rd from 10 to 4. It's at the Hampton Community Center. Oh my gosh, it is wall-to-wall comics. All comics, nothing but comics. Oh, you won't believe it. So, comic books, superheroes in general, they're actually extremely important to children, adults. It gives you a nice guide. It shows you the right way to be. You know, it shows you how to be the hero. Very rarely does someone say, oh man, I'd like to be the villain. You know, it doesn't happen. I'd like to be Doc Ock. You don't normally hear that. You know, everybody says, I want to be Spider-Man. Who wouldn't want to be Spider-Man? And today we are going to go check out the most incredible collection of Spider-Man memorabilia I've ever seen. But what I really want to show you is the unbelievable passion of Bruce. He is a teacher by day, but by every other millisecond of the day, he is obsessed with Spider-Man. And he uses that passion through teaching, through just all, he's an amazing guy. You're gonna love him. We're gonna meet him here in just a few minutes. But first, I wanna give you a little glimpse into why I like comic books. I wasn't a reader. I wasn't a big reader, you know. I had a lot of comics. I had a lot of wrestling magazines. Both, I looked at a ton of pictures. Like, I was the best picture looker adder to figure out the story that you could ever possibly imagine. It was awesome. But thankfully, with comic books, you really could do that. Now, with comic books, you can look at the art and follow along. You don't really have to read the words, and you can figure out the story that goes along with them. And I kind of like that. Comics in general didn't always have a superhero with superpowers. When comic books started out, or comic strips, in the newspapers on Sundays, it was guys like this, normal guys, but yet were also heroes. Like Dick Tracy. I shouldn't say he's a normal guy. He's better than that. But this is how it started. You know, this was the superhero in the 40s and 50s, calling Dick Tracy, you know. These are old comic strips, and they're awesome, absolutely awesome. And then it evolved into these superheroes with superpowers, Marvel, DC. Oh my gosh, it was spectacular. And one year I can specifically remember, it was 1995. I was at Christmas at my Nana and Papap's house. Now, my Nana and Papap's house, we would go there for the later part of Christmas. Okay, so this was the evening, so we already had eaten a ton of candy and played with a ton of toys, and we wanted more. We wanted more toys, we couldn't wait. So this was me and my Nana, and we would go and we would have tons of different traditions that we would do there. And one would be, I would force people to do skits because I could not wait to open my presents. I wanted to open them so badly. I could not wait. I just wanted to get them open. So I figured I'll dress like Groucho Marx and I will torture everyone in my family and force them to do skits. That'll pass the time. It did. And whenever that didn't work, I would just have a fist fight with my cousin Clint. So this is the kind of things we would do. And then I would get talking to by my Nana on the fence. Oh, I know whatever I did was wrong, for certain. She was one of the few people to call me Nicky, and I do miss that tremendously. But one of my most favorite traditions we would do, my Papap could pick up any gift, shake it once or twice, and he knew exactly what was in it, no matter what it was. No matter how often we tried to fool him, he always guessed. So we tried to do the same thing. So we would go in and we'd find all the gifts with our names. Look at that stupid face. So this is the G.I. Joe headquarters. And it was spectacular. It was a fantastic gift. I always loved getting toys, you know, surprised. But one year, me and Clint, we were, you know, digging around under the tree, and we found a box. Nick, Clint, same shape, same size. It was a book, for certain. Oh, we picked it up and we shook it and we went, oh no, it's a Bible. And, you know, that's a very appropriate, nice gift to get for Christmas is a Bible. But we didn't want a Bible, we wanted toys. And we were positive that we got a Bible that year. And we went throughout the evening, Groucho Marx skit, one after another, then to get to the chair to open up our gifts. And when we opened them, it wasn't a Bible. My Nana, she went off the list. We would circle items on Hill's catalog, Sears catalog for her to get, to make it easy for her. She went off script, and she got us a box of 60 random Marvel and DC comic books. It was unbelievable. We were entranced by these. My cousin, I think, would read them, and he actually could draw them fairly well. Not me, but I love them. I love the colors, I love the way they looked, and most specifically, I loved the X-Men. That was my team. Those were my superheroes. All right, I've yapped enough. We're gonna see someone else's superhero. We're gonna see the web slinger of Johnstown himself. Let's go check out Bruce and all of his awesome stuff. What do you say? Let's do it.
Here it is.
Oh my God. Bruce, what's up, man?
How's it going, man?
Thank you for inviting me here to Johnstown, Pennsylvania. Now, you know, I always feel like I have an idea. I'm like, you know what, all right. I seen SpideyandMe.com.
SpideyandMe.com.
It's awesome, fantastic website.
Thank you.
And I looked, I'm like, okay, I'm blown away. Blown away. Every time I walk in, I'm like, oh my gosh. So you are a mild-mannered math teacher by day.
By day.
But by every other second of the day,
yes,
you are a Spider-Man aficionado.
Yeah, for sure.
Fanatic.
Fanatic for over 50 years.
Oh my gosh. Well,
Over
of course,
50 years.
over 50 years. There is no way you could amass something like this in any less amount of time than 50 years.
No. I mean, some of it's mine from a childhood, but some I bought as an adult. You know,
That's neat.
When I had the funds, I got back into nostalgia.
Yeah.
Hunting nostalgia. And I found a lot of good stuff, you know, in the last 30 years of adulthood.
Oh, man. So you mentioned there are childhood items here.
Yes.
Show me one.
Show you one.
Show me one.
Well, if you look at any of those action figures that are loose sitting there, those are from my childhood days. They're from the Mego line. Megos are super collectible. And they were really our first action figures back in the 70s. You know,
I'll tell you what.
Articulated. You could move them because some of them weren't articulated to that point. So,
hey, I'm an LJN wrestling fan.
Yeah.
The dog toys of toys.
Yes.
This is really, now do you remember getting this?
I remember getting all those. And we didn't call them dolls, even though some people said, hey, you got the Spider-Man doll, the Spider-Man action figure. And yeah, right out of a store downtown Johnstown, Glosser Brothers department store. My mom worked there. And
oh, really?
And she went up to the toy department and had my Christmas list and got me a bunch of those Megos back in the old days.
So you remember, you were sitting there.
Yeah.
It was Christmas Day.
Yeah.
And you were
Christmas
popping
Day.
open.
My brothers, I was the youngest, my brothers and my sister, or someone was joking around saying, hey, look, those with your name on it, Bruce, it looks like a bunch of bricks wrapped up.
They
because
look like bricks.
This was what it looked like in the box. And I knew what they were as soon as I saw the shape. So yeah, that's when I got more recently, and the collector already had the case for it and things like that. So
oh my,
yeah, I buy,
that's
sell, and trade all the
nice.
time. You know, I don't keep all my stuff all the time, but some things will never leave. But I
Sure.
buy, sell, and trade, so I get new things in. Some things go.
You know
And
what?
that's the way
I
it
don't
goes.
sell. I don't.
Okay,
I know.
that's cool. That's
I
cool.
don't. The way that I find toys is very strange.
Yeah.
A lot of times I will ask kids that I went to school with.
Yeah.
I'll be like, hey, man, I know you used to like wrestling. What happened to your old toys?
Right.
A lot of times it's the same response. My
Yeah.
parents, you know,
Parents got rid of 'em.
Goodwill,
Yeah.
destroy, whatever it may be. But sometimes it's not the case. And they're
Yeah.
like, yeah, come on over. So I
right.
would come over
Yeah.
and I would get their toys. And I would say, listen, I'm buying this for me
Yeah.
and my kids to
Right,
play with.
right.
I'm not buying this to resell it.
Yeah,
you know?
right.
And that's just the way that I hunt, you know?
yeah.
But thank goodness there are people who sell stuff.
Some stuff.
So I
some
can
stuff.
buy it.
Yeah, right. I'm not against it. You know, some of my childhood things will never go.
No,
But
no.
some other things I'll buy, sell, and trade. And
But-
I've done a good bit of that over the years.
We're
Web-spinning Spider-Man.
This is Web Spinning Spider-Man with Flyaway Action Pack. Assembly required. Load the web spinning fluid and squeeze.
Web-spinning Spider-Man. Small webs, big webs. Spider-Man webs are catchy webs. Webs around fingers, webs around legs. Webs, webs, web-spinning Spider-Man.
Web Spinning Spider-Man with Flyaway Action Pack and Web Spinning Fluid by Mego.
I always ask this. Why Spidey?
Why Spidey? Everybody wants to know why Spidey. Even my high school students who claim to watch my other interviews I've done on YouTube and things where I tell that, I can tell they don't really watch the videos. Well, it all started way back when, and I'll show you some stuff on the wall, but the cartoon in the 1960s. Now, this isn't from the 1960s, but this is one of those video discs they made in the 80s. But the cartoon with a cool theme song, you know, Spider-Man. That's my favorite song. So I started watching.
That hooked you.
My brothers and sisters were like, hey, my brothers and my sisters, they said, come on over, check out this cartoon, Bruce. And I'm like, what? I knew about the Batman TV show. Superman was on TV back then. And my brothers loved that stuff, but here was a new hero, and I'm the youngest kid in the house. He was a kid, and I'm like,
just like
that's my man. I wanted to be Spider-Man.
That's so neat.
From that cartoon early on, and there's a picture from the cartoon.
Oh,
and the guy that did the voice, he signed that at one point.
Peter Souls, the original voice of Spider-Man.
Paul Souls.
Oh, Paul.
Yeah, it's a little bit hard to read, but yeah, Paul Souls.
Wow.
But so that's where it started. A couple months later, my brother came home from the store one day, and he had a gift for me from the corner store. And he threw down this comic book. It's still right here today.
Oh,
Spider-Man
my
comic
gosh.
book. We had other comics. We had the Batman. We had the Archies. We had the Supermans. But I never knew there were Spider-Man comics. So when I saw that one, I went nuts. I drew all over it. I cut pictures out. I wanted more Spider-Man comics, but that was the first store-bought item that I've ever had of Spidey, and I still have it today.
To you?
One of my brothers, when he was at the store, he gave it to me.
He picked it up because he knew.
He knew that I loved Spider. He knew that I was Spider-Man. By the time I was watching that cartoon for a couple months, I was Spider-Man. Yeah,
I just got goosebumps.
You got
that
goosebumps.
Is so neat.
Everywhere inside where I cut out pictures and I taped them on my bedroom wall, and there's some pictures of, on the first page, there's a picture of Spider-Man with his shirt off. And I wrote my name on his back, Bruce, because that was me. I was Peter Parker.
That
Bruce.
is so cool.
So I signed it, and then a few years later, I got Stan Lee, the author, and John Romita, the artist, to sign it. And
I can't
never
even
threw it away,
believe
and
that.
there it is today.
There's
there
you
it
and
is.
Stan.
There's me and Stan, me and John Romita at his house.
Oh, my God.
And another time I met Stan in Pittsburgh. This was in New York City, and that was in Pittsburgh. But
That's incredible.
a lot of wild things have happened to me over the years, Nick, that I wouldn't believe it if you showed me a list of all the things that have happened with me. One person did all these things with Spider-Man in his lifetime. You know, it's just...
Well, as I was walking in, I saw a massive Hulk Hogan. I'm not going to flex next to you, but yeah, brother. You have a huge Hulk Hogan.
I love Hulk Hogan.
Me too.
I started watching wrestling in 1978, so that's another one of my passions, you know. Back when it was the WWE, WWF, 3 W's and an F.
Worldwide Wrestling Federation.
And when you saw no good matches on TV, you had to go pay for your $8 at the arena for ringside seats.
Who would you go to watch wrestling with?
Oh, I'd see Bruno Sammartino. I'd see, Bob Backlund was a champion at the time. Superstar Graham was still around.
Was it your dad though?
No. Actually, we left my dad when I was 5 years old.
Oh.
So I hadn't, had no connection with a dad. But one of my buddies, who I spent some time with that summer in his house in Pittsburgh, was into wrestling. So I started watching it.
You and your friends.
And so me and my friends would go down, or another guy, his wife worked with my mom, so he was like a father figure, so he'd go with us to watch wrestling.
No way.
Yeah, so we had some good times.
So cool.
Good times. I had a lot of good father figures over the years. Even Stan Lee, by his style in the comics, was a father figure to me in a way back then. So
that's a deep thought. I mean, it's
good
true.
times.
It is true. These I'm from the 80s. I'm an 80s kid. I was born literally directly into Hulkamania, so I had no choice. You know what I mean? But the 80s, 70s, I guess, maybe the tail end of the 70s, toy companies, pop culture, people creators, they knew they had to keep the kids busy because a lot of times both of the parents at that point were working.
Right.
So they're like, what can we do to keep these obnoxious children out of our hair.
Right.
Let's market everything to them. And thankfully they did, because we had the greatest stuff, you know?
Absolutely.
And it
Cool stuff.
really is quite something to hear the connections. You know, that's what you and your buddies did. Would go down to see some good old studio wrestling.
Yeah, I'd go every day of the summer to the box office. Are the wrestling tickets in yet? Are the wrestling tickets in? Is wrestling coming?
I love it.
Get those ringside seats for $6 or $8.
Next to ringside Rosie. See, I can always find a way. To incorporate wrestling.
Bring wrestling in. Wrestling. And I loved Mil Mascaris because he wore the masks that reminded me of Spider-Man. So I'm like, but he wasn't wrestling in the WWF at the time. So I bought all the magazines. He'd be on the cover. Like, Mil.
He was a Mexican wrestler.
Yeah, he had the
Mexican
masks.
lucha libre wrestlers.
Lucha libre.
Yeah, they all, like Rey Mysterio now, they always would change their masks. And it was a very significant part of Mexican wrestling.
Absolutely.
Was that mask.
Yeah.
You know, it was like it was everything. It was their identity. Much like Peter up here.
Yes, and his name meant Man of 1,000 Masks.
Yeah,
That's
that's
what it
right.
translated into.
Mil Mascaris. Oh my.
Man of 1,000 Masks.
That's really cool. That's really cool. There's a couple things here that I saw that I was like, wow, that's neat. For instance, this is the Atari game, the Atari
This is the
Spider-Man
Atari
game?
cartridge from 1982, whenever Atari was popular. The only video games you could play at your house was Atari. Yeah.
But this, you have the display.
Display from the countertop display. I got this a few years ago. I didn't get it as a kid, of course.
I wonder what store it came from.
Yeah,
Do you know what part of the country it came
who
from?
knows? I don't even know that. In fact, I got this from overseas, but it was an American, product. But someone overseas had it in their collection. But
that's cool.
It could have been Sears. You know, they sold a lot of video games back then. It could have been any department store that had a video department.
Yeah, that's true.
Counter display. So those are hard to come by. Any kind of store displays, of course, are hard to come by.
I'll blow this town to smithereens. Time bombs. Try to get up there in time, Spider-Man.
Watch me cut my web, Goblin.
Watch yourself fall, Silk Slinger.
Gotta stop the bombs in time.
If I don't get you, webhead, my diagnosis will.
Holy hell!
And you're running out of fluid.
Is this more action than even Spider-Man can handle?
Spider-Man, a video game from Parker Brothers, the ones to beat.
As soon as I walked in, obviously the toys caught my eye.
Yeah.
But that I've never seen. What is that?
That is a reproduction. I have the original as well, but it's a 6-foot tall poster. It was only available through the comic books in 1965, 66,
Mail away.
67. Mail away.
Can we go look? Let's go.
Yeah. And that thing cost you $1.99 back then.
Oh my gosh! Don't you wish you'd have bought 10
Plus
of them?
15 cents for postage and handling. I was too young. I was born in 1964, but I'd see these in some of the issues, back issues, and I knew that we didn't have money in the mail, and so it taunted me until 2020. Something good happened in the year 2020, thankfully.
Oh, really?
eBay, my original, it's on display down at the Bottle Works where we have some Steve Ditko
What's
items.
going on down at the Bottle Works?
No, we've had exhibits and things like that. Steve Ditko, who was the co-creator of Spider-Man, is from Johnstown, Pennsylvania, where I've lived my whole life.
Are you
No, I'm getting
kidding?
goosebumps. Look at
I
that, look
see
at the
them. Are
hairstand.
you
Look at that.
kidding me?
My
Wait.
whole life I've lived here, and he grew up and was raised here in Johnstown, Pennsylvania.
Did you know that as a kid?
I did not know. I was a sold-out Spidey fan for 20 years.
Oh my gosh.
I got a trading card set for his 30th anniversary. It's 30 years ago now, because he's 60 this year. And I flipped it over, and there was a fun fact.
No way.
Steve Ditko is from Johnstown. I almost fainted.
Are you kidding me?
But this was his 6-foot poster, and I found one in rough condition as a high school teacher. That's the only way I can afford it back in 2020. And
Wow,
this
your
is-
friendly neighborhood
Yes, this is a reproduction, but I needed this. When I got this piece, the original, like I said, is down at the Bottle Works where we were doing exhibits and different events at the Bottle Works over the last couple of years to honor Steve Ditko.
Wow.
The original brought my collection, which I think is pretty decent. This is only about
Pretty decent. You walk into an Amazing Spider-Man pinball machine. Are you kidding me?
This is only about a fourth of my stuff. I don't display it. Like, this is only for interviews and stuff, but the stuff on the wall stays up. But my collection went from this level to a much higher level just by getting my hero, Steve Ditko from Johnstown.
Steve Ditko.
The 6-foot poster definitely
Johnstown,
jumped my collection to a much higher level. But
So were there other heroes that came in this form?
they were supposed to. They said, this is the first in a line, but this was the only one they ever did. They never did another 6-foot. They never did another 6 foot.
You have the original.
I have the original.
Original mail-away Spider-Man.
Yep.
Your
friendly neighborhood Spider-Man at the bottom.
That is
Webs under the
incredible.
armpits. That was classic Steve Ditko.
That's what I was going to say. I
Yeah.
noticed this. Now, when you close your eyes and you think of Spider-Man, this is the image that you see in your
I hope
brain.
so.
It's the image I see.
Yeah, right.
You know, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not I like Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I'm not a massive Spider-Man fan, but
Yeah.
that is Spidey.
Yeah.
That is what Spider-Man looks like. And it
Right.
was Steve Ditko from Johnstown,
Pennsylvania, where I've lived my whole life.
Wow.
So that gives me goosebumps.
Does his family still live here?
His
or?
family still lives here. He has a brother that's still in town.
That's incredible.
Some nephews, nieces, and I've met a good bit of them like through the internet over the years. We've become friends, and then at the event last summer, I became friends with more of them. They've come to see my presentation that I
No
do
way.
by Steve Ditko. So,
Where can they get information
Yeah.
about your presentation?
Oh, SpideyandMe.com, the great website, SpideyandMe.com. You can check out my presentations I do at comic book conventions, PowerPoints. You can check out
I'll
my
bet
collection.
it's fun. You're fun.
I try to have fun.
You're fun.
Even as a math teacher, I try to have fun. If I'm not having fun and I'm not joking around a little bit, it's just not a good day for me. So I like to have fun. And
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, see, I'm not going to lie. I never had the greatest relationship with teachers. a lot of them still have toys of mine in their desk. I've been waiting. They told me they'd give them back in June, and they didn't give them back. But
they didn't say which June. Maybe 20 years down the road.
right. And you know what's funny? I married a teacher.
Yeah, that's the funny part. That's the funny part.
Yes. I needed that in my life.
Well,
I needed that.
The students like you, I make it a goal of mine to kind of break them down over the years.
Yeah.
They hate my guts at first.
Well,
the second year, they don't like me. The third year, they like me.
See, that's
so
the thing.
I work on break them down.
I wasn't bad. I wasn't mean.
Yeah.
I was a little mischievous. It was all this. All the time. And it's like, how am I supposed to teach a lesson while this kid's in the corner going da 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 da? You know what I mean?
Yeah, funny.
So Steve Ditko.
Steve Ditko.
Is there anything does he have and he sadly has passed away.
Yes. Passed away about 4 years ago.
What a legend.
Legend,
Oh my goodness,
legend.
what a legend.
He was a very private man. He didn't want to he never went to conventions. He went to the first few like in the 1960s, didn't do interviews, but he did respond if you sent him letters. So before he passed away, luckily I did send him a letter.
No, you did
to
not.
show him tell him my appreciation of the character that he created. This is only 3 years of a 60-year career, but this character impacted my life. So. And he was good, and he wrote letters back. I have it on the wall over there. He wrote letters back, and, that was the way he communicated with
You have
fans.
his response.
I have his response.
So you wrote Steve Ditko.
I wrote him a letter, yes.
And he responded to you.
He responded.
He responded to everybody.
He did that to everybody. I don't know how many thousands of letters. I can only imagine he wrote back in his lifetime.
But it was
to
just your
fans.
appreciation of what it meant to you.
Right,
And
right.
he responded.
He responded.
Dear Bruce, everyone becomes attached to all sorts of things, activities. It's just a natural, normal human life. Every new era has its favorites, heroes from silent movies to television, DVDs to the internet. Wow, this is incredible. As in publishing, fairy tales to novels to serious literature.
Yeah.
See, I should have brushed up on mine a little bit more. History, philosophy, etc. The human mind's ever active, but needs the proper direction and means behavior, a clarity of understanding in. I quit Spider-Man in the 1960s.
Yeah. Yeah, he was concerned with, what am I doing today? So let's talk about that. And what am I going to do next month?
That makes sense for
he
an
kept
artist.
kept his career going until the day of his death almost. And he did Spider-Man in the 1960s. But
After him,
yeah.
I continued to do other comic characters for other companies and for myself. It seems like a lot of time it was for himself. He drew for himself.
Yeah, he did some independent publishing of his work, not for companies. Yeah,
I don't live in the past. This is the man who made Spider-Man.
This is the
If
man.
I made Spider-Man, my underpants would be Spider-Man. You know what I mean? I'm concerned with the now and tomorrow. That is inspiring.
Yeah,
really
it is.
neat.
It is.
Too many comic book fans want me to stay locked in the pastime and work, and they expect me to remain here to please them. Regards, Steve Ditko. Wow.
Yeah, pretty intense, right?
It is intense.
He was an intense guy, but he was also a cool guy. But a lot of people characterized him over the years as a recluse, as a hermit, and he wasn't any of that. He'd come to Johnstown on the train. He'd visit his nieces and nephews, his brother, And the family is getting the word out to get rid of the caricature, tell the true story of Steve, because he didn't want to talk for himself. He didn't do a lot of interviews and things, but they are going to be doing more, hopefully a book coming up soon.
That's wonderful.
Photos that no one has seen before.
Maybe if
him
any
being
of
a
that
normal
information
guy.
comes out between now and then, we could put it in here and we
Absolutely.
can advertise, because this is neat.
This
Is there
good
anything
stuff.
in Johnstown, like his house, like he lived here? Is there any like a memorial or anything like that for him?
Well, we've been hoping for one for years and years. And last year, we did have that exhibit. And part of that exhibit was the announcement that Matt Lamb, who's the director at the Bottle Works Art Center, he contacted Marvel Comics, and he had asked them 6-7 times before they finally said yes.
Yeah?
A giant 28-foot tall Steve Ditko inspired artwork mural with Doctor Strange, which was his other main character for Marvel, and Spider-Man on a wall in downtown Johnstown. It was installed this summer.
Before I forget,
Yeah.
he also made the villains.
Yeah.
Oh
He did all the side
gosh.
characters. He did so much work. You know, Stan did the word balloons and the dialogue at times after he saw the finished comic.
Wait,
And
they were just
produced-
blank?
They produced magic together. You know, Steve did the story, drew it, put down some dialogue suggestions, showed it to Stan. Stan would fill it in, maybe make a few changes.
They tag team wrestled
They tagged.
Spider-Man.
That's
so
but Steve
crazy.
did so much work that people don't understand that he did the lion's share. You know, and Stan was there, you know, to promote it and to write in some words. But together they made magic. But Steve did the majority.
So Stan Lee was P.T. Barnum,
Pretty much.
and Steve Ditko was the circus.
He was the circus. Yes.
Holy crap!
Yep. Super creative guy.
Can we please go to the mural?
Absolutely. We're gonna hit that mural.
Let's go, man. Yes,
Do
let's
it.
go.
Yes.
All right, we will get back to Bruce in just 1 second for some more web slinging fun. But first, we're going to take a spin on everybody's favorite wheel, that World of Nostalgia. You never know where it's going to land. Today, the World of Nostalgia is brought to you by Pop Culture Comics. They are having a massive comic book show, the Pittsburgh Comic Book Show, at the Hampton Community Center. They had to upgrade the venue because there are so many vendors, over 60 booths. You got to get there. Kids under 12 get in free, along with first responders and veterans. Everybody else, $5 at the door. It's all comics. I mean, wall to wall, nothing but comics. You got to be there. All right, let's do it. Let's take a spin on the World of Nostalgia. What do you say?
Let's go hunting.
Nick and I have been friends for a while. As you can see, I like nostalgia. Twister behind me, vintage board games. You have, Mousetrap back there. And I even buy Nick some Dick Tracy things when I find them in the wild. So, Nick, if you need help doing that 100-piece Dick Tracy puzzle, let me know. I can help you out. But my main focus is Mo2 merch. And Mo2 stands for Masters of the Universe. So what I enjoy doing and buying and purchasing and getting really involved in is merchandise. I love the merchandise. I love the weird, strange, non-figure type items. So one piece I'm going to show you today is a piece that I had when I was a kid, and it really brings back memories from when I was a younger child during bath time. This is a 1984 vintage Skeletor floating soap dish. I remember having this when I was a kid, and it is an indestructible, that's what the package said, indestructible floating soap dish. There are actually 3 versions of this one. I have all 3 in my collection. As you can see, it has a little mini soap, so it floats around your bathtub, and you can play with it and use the soap to get all clean. I hope you enjoyed my nostalgic moment with my Skeletor floating indestructible soap dish with soap. So, pretty awesome. All right, Nick, I'll talk to you soon, buddy. Back to you.
All right, so just a few miles down from Bruce's house, this is the mural. This is the, oh, what do we got here?
What's up? What's up? What's up?
You are Spider-Man.
Hey, what can I say?
Oh, we can't show his secret identity. We can't show it. Do you need a hand? No. Oh my goodness.
It feels better with that off.
You explained this mural to me. But holy moly!
Yeah, look at this thing.
Oh my gosh!
28 feet high.
I gotta tell you, my favorite part. This right here.
This right here. You can tell the artistic quality of the person that painted that little square.
Who would that have been?
That would have been this guy. They only entrusted me to that little area because I can't stay within the lines without using my spider sense. I got to use the spider sense.
I have absolutely zero artistic ability. It is awful. My artwork is this. This is my artwork.
I'm not an art guy either, but I can appreciate art of Steve Ditko right here.
Yeah, Steve Ditko. So we saw your amazing collection, which the most impressive part about your collection is your passion and your smile. Dude, it truly is.
Yeah.
Now, Spider-Man to you is the Hulk Hogan to me.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I'm running wild and you're
I'm shooting webs.
You're shooting webs.
I love Hulk Hogan too, but
how can you not?
But Spider-Man, yeah, all the way since I was 4 years old till now, over 50 years.
That's incredible. Yeah. But Johnstown, PA, has a very, very special connection to this web-slinging guy.
Exactly. And it's just another one of those connections that if I told you all the things that happened with me and Spider-Man in my lifetime, and wrote a list down, you wouldn't believe it happened to one person. I wouldn't believe it if it wasn't me. But yes, the co-creator of Spider-Man, Steve Ditko, this is his hometown, and I've lived here my whole life.
Isn't that so? I mean, was that maybe part of the reason why you love Spidey so much, or not? You found that out later.
I found that out, 20 years into collecting. I was a mega collector, mega fan.
That's
nuts. I found out I almost fell over. So it's just one of those great things.
Co-creator, Steve Ditko.
The co-creator.
He lived just a few blocks away.
Just a few, maybe a mile, 2 miles down the road here. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and he still has family in the area.
No way.
And I've gotten the chance to meet them and become friends with them over the last 2 years.
Oh,
awesome.
That's wonderful. So they can see this.
They've seen it. They've enjoyed it.
Oh,
they even painted on some of this. Some of his descendants have painted. Even his brother.
No.
On this. Yes.
That's an incredible. Now that.
Ditko by Ditko.
Now that is hunting nostalgia.
Yeah.
That's incredible. So he also, did he go to school in Johnstown too? Like maybe he learned?
He did. Well, actually, what's interesting is he never took an art class in high school.
Wow.
But he went to Johnstown High School, and I went to Johnstown High School. I walked in the
same hallways. Oh, that's so cool.
But yeah, he came back from serving in the war for 3 years, and he went to what they call Johnstown Veterans School, and that's where he got some accreditation in his artwork.
Wow.
And then he went to New York.
That's where he learned his craft.
That's where he perfected his craft, because he was drawing on the side for many years. And then he went to New York, and the rest is history.
Man.
60-year career in comics.
I mean, look at those colors.
Yeah.
You know, the colors have always drawn me into things. Like wrestling, the 80s wrestling, that red and yellow on Hulk Hogan. It is just something that it's like a taste or a smell.
It's iconic. It's iconic. What would Hogan look like without the red and yellow?
Exactly.
What would Spider-Man look like without this? This costume is probably maybe the most iconic character costume.
I think it is. I truly think it is.
Superman and Batman have the claim, but they change a lot, and Spider-Man, pretty much stays like this.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Stays like this in Johnstown, PA.
Johnstown.
Bruce, I loved your collection. I loved hanging out with you today. This was absolutely incredible. That smile right there, that smile is what does it for me. And it's not, like I've said many, many times, it's not the value of our collections. It's what it's worth to us and what it truly means.
I agree, man. But my emotional connection is what it's all about. I know there's at least 10 guys in the United States alone that have better collections than I do. Hard to believe, but they do. And I appreciate what they have, but my emotional connection is what stands apart.
And that's truly all that matters. Yeah. It truly is. Thank you, Bruce. This is incredible.
Man. Glad we got together.
Me too. Oh my gosh. This right here, folks, this in Johnstown, PA, Steve Ditko, this is hunting nostalgia.
This is ridiculous.
Yes.
This is the Hulkster running wild, brother.
Running wild, brother, in Madison Square Garden, dude, in the garden.
Oh my gosh.
For Hulk Hogan Appreciation Night.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It was just a house show.
It was a house show.
They were
at the garden, and they're honoring Hulk Hogan. They brought Ric Flair. You can see some of the other guys, Jimmy Hart. And I made this poster for me and my son to take to the event, in hopes that Hogan would see it or do something with it.
Well, he saw it, brother.
He saw it, brother, and he signed it.
Oh my
and
gosh.
WWE.com was there. They took a picture of him signing it. I made this print. I took it to Hogan a couple years later when he was at a signing event, and he signed it to Mark, my son. Hulk Hogan in the middle there. He stopped. He signed an 8x10 for my son, some little kid's hat. the poster, and then he clapped and he walked up the aisle.
What a memory.
Yeah.
What
Good
a
times.
memory.
Good times.
Oh my gosh.